Welcome back to MetalDisciple.com's The Week in Reviews. My name is George, and today I bring you reviews from All Hail the Yeti, The Wandering Midget, Adorned Brood, and Agony Lords. All Hail the Yeti is from Los Angeles, California, and their self-titled debut album was released back in August. I feel like I heard something from this album probably right after it was released, but for whatever reason it didn't take hold of me. This week I was scouring iTunes for new music, and I came across All Hail the Yeti. I almost whipped right past them because I knew the name and figured if I hadn't heard it yet, I must not have liked them. Since I was bordering on desperation for something new to listen to, I backed up and listened to some of the clips. Well now, this is kinda interesting, I thought to myself. I figured these guys were probably yet another cookie-cutter metalcore band that sounds exactly like every other metalcore band. Scream, scream, sing pretty, scream, repeat. Turns out I was only half right. Dude does scream a lot, and he does sing sort of clean too, but not in the saccharine, douchey way that makes metalcore bands so fucking annoying. This is more like southern metal, a la NOLA, a la Down meets groove metal meets the only good thing about metalcore, the clean production. If I didn't know these guys were from LA, I would swear they were a southern band. There is some really heavy shit on this album, and there is really melodic stuff too. All Hail the Yeti is one of those rare bands that manages to pull off both uber heavy and melodic without sounding like formulaic fluff. I think that laid-back groove they have makes for an excellent bridge between the heavy and the melodic. None of the elements that make up this album are ones that I haven't heard before, yet the whole of all these parts combines to make an album with a fairly distinct personality. This is a near-perfect marriage of aggression and melody. The Wandering Midget is a doom metal band from Finland, and From the Meadows of Opium Dreams is their second album. I haven't the slightest idea where these guys came up with their band's name, but it certainly caught my attention. I came across their first album, The Serpent Coven, earlier this year, and was impressed with how good it sounded. When I saw that they had a new album coming out this year, I became rather excited, and with good reason. The band's sound is sort of like the style practiced by Witchcraft. It has a retro 70s style which is heavy on riffs and fairly melodic, but remains pretty simple in that it doesn't sound like layers upon layers of tracks. To say the sound is thin wouldn't be doing the album justice. I think it sounds unburdened by excess baggage. Every part on this album has a use and a place in the mix. Witchcraft, in comparison, has a bit more pep and speed in their songs. Don't expect to get anywhere fast with From the Meadows of Opium Dreams. There are only 4 tracks, but the album is still 56 minutes long. Temples in the Sky is a massive 20 minutes and 12 seconds, and Follow the Forest Lights isn't far behind with a time of 17 minutes and 31 seconds. My friend Buke told me the other day that he has trouble with My Dying Bride songs because the songs can be just so slow. The Wandering Midget may not be for Buke then, because this album sounds like the midget has been partaking of the opium. In other words, the songs are lethargically slow. Me, I think the album is bloody brilliant. Fans of doom metal should take heed of From the Meadows of Opium Dreams. This is one of my favorite doom albums of the year. Adorned Brood is a German folk metal band, and they have just released their 8th album, Kuningaz. I first discovered Adorned Brood in 2010 with the release of their 7th album, Hammerfest. I was immediately taken by the heavy Viking and battle-inspired metal, combined with flute and other folk elements. The huge gang chorus vocals, while dead in most styles of metal, is brilliant in metal trying to convey the presence of a great many people chanting from the battlefield. It flashes me back to Manowar and The Crown and the Ring. I am helpless before this sort of music. Kuningaz contains all the elements I loved about Hammerfest and, if possible, improves upon them. Whether the songs are more intense or the production has just generally improved since the last album, I couldn't really say without a more dedicated side-by-side comparison. What I can tell you is that Kuningaz has me seeing red. I am scanning the room looking for a big-ass sword so I can hold it high and let loose a bone-chilling war cry before jumping into the bloody fray to fight side-by-side with my brothers and sisters of metal. Try listening to the track Men and see if you don't feel like doing the same. Ha ha! The production quality on Kuningaz is absolutely perfect. The guitar tone is sharp and will slice through the best forged plate metal. The sound is bright and clear like the sky on a good day to die. The vocals have a harsh edge, but nothing like a death metal rasp. I am wholly unworthy of this gift which has been bestowed upon me by Adorned brood. This album excretes glory, the likes of which I will never know. Agony Lords is a metal band from Mexico, and A Tomb for the Haunted is their third album. Formed in 1989 under the name Ripping Flesh, the band eventually changed their name to Agony Lords and released a demo and 2 albums. The band broke up in 1999 after the release of their second album, Nihilist Passion. This year the band got back together, and now here they are with their long-awaited new album, A Tomb for the Haunted. While technically labeled death metal on the interwebs, the only thing about the band that sounds death metal is the mildly harsh vocals. The band's own bio labels the band graveyard occult metal. I can't say for sure what graveyard occult metal is supposed to sound like, but if this is it, then it sounds good. I don't want to give the wrong impression that these guys sound like Sentenced, because they don't, but think back to when Down was released. At the time, Sentenced was labeled death metal for lack of a better label, but we all know they weren't really death metal anymore by that point. In the same sense, Agony Lords music is heavy metal, but much more mid-tempo and traditional sounding than death metal. And just like the vocals on Down, the vocals on A Tomb for the Haunted have a very rough edge, but are not so harsh as to truly warrant the label of death metal. I have not had the pleasure of listening to Agony Lords' earlier material, so I can't say whether this is a great leap forward or par for the course, but I can say I am really enjoying A Tomb for the Haunted. Will this be the album, like Down was for Sentenced, that catapults Agony Lords into the metal limelight? It would not surprise me in the least if that was the case. That's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. If you are watching this week's playlist from Metal Disciples' YouTube channel, stick around and check out songs from each of today's bands.